Antonio Brown, Lord have mercy. He retired as a Raider. He went there, then he froze his feet. He caused all this controversy to try to get traded. He badmouthed the coach. He badmouthed the quarterback. He badmouthed the general manager. Never played it down and then got cut. If you just stick to the football field, he's a Steeler legend. That 6-year stretch that he had is literally unmatched. If you had Antonio Brown on your fantasy league team, he led you to fantasy league football victories. Him by himself. Does he deserve to have his number retired? Absolutely not. You can't be bad-mouthing your quarterback like that. He burned every bridge that Pittsburgh has. And there's a whole bunch of bridges in Pittsburgh. But is he still a Steeler legend based on what he did on the field? 100% absolutely.
Welcome to Big B Daily. No frauds allowed.
All right. What is going on, everybody? Good morning, good morning, good morning. And welcome back to Big B Daily. Good morning. Thank you guys for showing up. This is your man, Big B, Brian Hanley. Appreciate everybody being here today. Again, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. We are live to you guys. Again, we're on TikTok. We're on YouTube. We're on several different platforms. So appreciate you guys being here, man. I will say on TikTok, they're messing with me. It's going to get frozen up in about 10 minutes. Do yourself a favor if you want to continue watching. Click on the link in my bio after you give me a follow. Come on over to YouTube and come and check us out. So I appreciate everything that you guys have done. We're still growing. Remember to tap that screen. We want to get at least 3,000 likes on that. So please continue to tap the screen, share the live. And again, if you want to run the conversation and help support the show, we appreciate that. Super chats. We got several gifts already in TikTok early this morning already. Continue to do that. We appreciate it. But more importantly, like, follow, subscribe outside of the video, and leave those comments. So let's get into the show, man. Let's get into the show. So first thing, free agency. NBA free agency. I know technically they can't sign, but the window to get a deal done has opened, and the biggest shoe has dropped. It dropped last night in the middle of the night. Paul George, 4 years, $212 million to the Philadelphia 76ers. It was rumored that he's going there. It comes to fruition. To me, I think that's the smart move. It was not happening with the Clippers. For whatever reason, him and Kawhi Leonard just could not get it together, couldn't stay healthy. Could not stay healthy. The one time they were actually healthy was in the bubble, and they talked about they didn't want to be there, so they just basically gave up on an opportunity to win an NBA title because they didn't like being there. Well, here we go. You got Paul George teaming up with Maxey and Embiid. People forget about Embiid. Embiid was going to win the MVP had he not got hurt. Now, it's another guy. He's got to stay healthy, but maybe he can be more healthy. Doesn't have as much load that he has to carry now that Paul George is there. Philadelphia is trying to win this thing. They re-signed Kelly Oubre. They got Eric Gordon. They signed Andre Drummond. Philadelphia is saying the time is now. The time is now. They re-up Maxey. Maxey re-signs. So the time is now for Philly. They're saying we're going for it, and we're going for it right now. Where does that leave the Clippers? I mean, you look at the Clippers, that was basically the worst trade in the history of NBA basketball. Literally the worst trade. What the Clippers traded, 5 first-round picks to Oklahoma City, and one of those turned into SGA, by the way. Or not, SGA got traded to them. It's just, oh my God. Just, the Clippers are going to Clipper. The Clippers are going to Clipper. Unbelievable. They are terrible. They are absolutely terrible. I just don't understand. Lord have mercy. They're bad. They are bad. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. They're going into a new arena. They lost Paul George. Is Kawhi going to be healthy? Who the hell knows? Where do the Clippers go from here? Who knows? I mean, this is a disaster. I mean, literally, it's a disaster. I just don't know. Whew. Wow. And yes, I feel corrected. My man Alex Rose says the Garnett Pierce to the net still the worst trade. You're probably right. You're probably right. The only reason that I would fight you on that, Alex, is that Garnett. No. You're right. You're right. Yeah, you're right. Because what they gave up, they acted like Pierce and Garnett were in their prime, and they were way past their prime at that point. So you're right. You're right. But it's still it's bad. It is bad. Lord have mercy. So is losing Paul George such a bad thing? Somebody doesn't watch enough NBA basketball, or at least Clippers basketball. So it's crazy. But yeah, losing Paul George is a bad thing. Because you can say, well, Kawhi plays the best when Paul George ain't there. But the Clippers aren't better. The Clippers are worse if Paul George ain't there. The hell are you talking about, man? Lord. Come on, man. It's going to be the Clippers. I feel bad for them. So nobody said people are forgetting. Jeez Louise. Let's just get rid of ignorant people. I apologize. I don't even know why I mess with this platform, YouTube. I apologize. Oh, well. The bottom line is basketball in LA, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens with basketball in Los Angeles. The Lakers, we'll see what they do. They're in the sweepstakes to try to get Klay Thompson. I think they might. Klay Thompson, I don't think he wants to leave the West Coast. It would make sense. But I actually think if I'm Klay Thompson, I'm looking for a fit. If it's just about the fit, I think Dallas makes more sense. Now, I think he ends up with the Lakers because, hey, man, your dad played for the Lakers. You're a West Coast guy. You want to be on the West Coast. It's still the Lakers. And it's not like the Lakers aren't good. You know, people act like the Lakers are a terrible basketball team. That's not true. The Lakers are good. Klay Thompson makes them better. He does. So, yeah, it makes sense. But if you're just talking about a fit, just think about all the shots in the corner three that Klay Thompson's going to get with Luka and Kyrie breaking down defenses. If you've got Klay Thompson standing in the corner and you don't have PJ Washington or you don't have Derek Jones Jr., that person in the corner is Klay Thompson. Is that final series different if Klay Thompson is there? Yeah, I think it is. I'm not saying Klay is what he was 6-7 years ago. I'm not saying that because he's not. We all know that. But what I am saying is he makes Dallas better. That's a better fit in my opinion. So we'll see. Oh, man. Klay shot 0 for 10 in an elimination game. Okay. So you're basing it off of one basketball game? Oh, man. Whew. I tell you what, boy, people, I'll just leave it at that. There's some people out there. They are just, I've got to be negative no matter what. That's my life. I'm going to get on a platform and just be as negative as possible because that's how miserable my life is. Lord have mercy. Woo! It is what it is, people. It is what it is. What's going on, Pat? You're saying head, shoulders, knees, and toes are stopping the 76ers. I mean, the injuries might stop the 76ers. The injuries might stop the 76ers. I'm just saying they're going for it. I'm just saying they're going for it. And I would rather have, if I was a Sixers fan, I would rather have my franchise go for it. And then, okay, if we get hurt, it is what it is. Then just sit back and say, no, we're not going to go try to sign these guys. We're just going to sit back and see what happens, yada, 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 and not go for it. So if I'm a Philadelphia 76ers fan today, I'm happy. In March, if two of my top guys are hurt, maybe I'm not happy. But as of right now, I'm happy. I'm happy. So, yeah, I'm happy. But it's true. Embiid's got to stay healthy. I mean, it just kind of goes without saying. He's got to figure out a way to stay healthy. And maybe he never will. Maybe it's just one of those things where at some point during a season his body is going to break down. But again, getting a Paul George, maybe that takes some of the load off of him. Maybe that does. Maybe some of the burden gets taken off of him. And maybe Embiid isn't going out there and having to put up MVP caliber numbers just for them to be able to compete. Maybe he's a 26-9 guy. There's nothing wrong with that if you got Paul George and Maxey on your squad. Maybe he doesn't have to score 35 points a night. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, if he can continue to do that with Paul George and Maxey, that would be incredible. But they got to find a way. He's got to find a way. And the Sixers strength and conditioning staff got to find a way to keep this guy healthy. So last year wasn't his fault. 3 of the seasons were freaking. I don't think any year of Embiid getting hurt is ever. I don't think anybody getting hurt is ever their fault. I mean, you can't blame somebody for getting hurt. I mean, you just can't. Nobody says, man, I'm going out here. I'm getting hurt today. You can't blame guys for getting hurt. Nobody wants to get hurt. But what you can do is you can say, hey, you're injury prone. That's a problem. Nothing wrong with calling it is what it is. So MVP, Embiid was the MVP. Trying to get him against Jokic. I mean, I don't know. I thought Embiid was going to win the MVP last year until he got hurt. And he won it the year before. So it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm interested to see how the rest of this goes. We saw Chris Paul. Chris Paul got let go by the Golden State Warriors. I'm like, who was going to – they said, well, they moved it back to Sunday, his deadline from Friday, to try to get a trade. Who was going to trade for Chris Paul? Can I just ask that question? I mean, who was trading for Chris Paul? Who wanted Chris Paul? Did I miss something? And not only did you want Chris Paul, who was going to take on Chris Paul's $30 million contract? Like, who wanted that? I mean, come on, man. So, we like Chris Paul. But, yeah. There's a grown man calling another grown man a milk dud. Lord, have mercy. But, yeah. I don't know. Chris Paul, he's going to San Antonio. Is that a good fit? Y'all like the fit of Chris Paul in San Antonio? I'm not sure. Sure I do. So, my man says the 76ers are still not better than Boston. Clips probably getting Debo and calling it a lot. Yeah, I mean, the 76ers are not better than Boston. That's number one. They're not. I mean, they're better, but they're not a better team than Boston. They got better is what I should have said. They got better, but they're not better than Boston. But who knows? I mean, things can happen in the playoffs. The one thing that I do know is that Boston doesn't have anybody that can guard a healthy Embiid. So if Embiid is healthy, he's a problem. But Boston is better than they are. So, but I like what the 76ers. I like the 76ers are going for it, man. I like it. I like it. So hopefully they can make it happen. Hopefully they can make. Don't we need the 76ers to be better? Like, as NBA fans and people that watch NBA basketball, Do we need the 76ers to be good? I kind of think we need the 76ers to be good, or the Knicks. Don't we need them to be good too? We'll see how good the Knicks are. The Mikal Bridges got traded. We talked about that a little bit last week. Are the Knicks better? We'll see. So, yeah, this is a good point. CP3 won't let himself retire. He's one that's going to have to be Here's my thing. Like, forced out. Wasn't this everybody's opportunity? Like, wasn't this the opportunity to force Chris Paul out? If that's what is really going to happen, why are the San Antonio Spurs paying this man $11 million? What's the point? What are you trying to do? This was the opportunity. Nobody was beating down the door to sign Chris Paul, but yet here he is. And he's going to be making, what is it, $43 million this year. I mean, who signed the deal? Why would Phoenix give him that deal? And then just to turn around and trade him. And then Golden State took it on. Now you got to pay $30 million to a Chris Paul, who's not even going to be on your team? What? That didn't make sense to me to begin with. But we'll see. We'll see. So, we need Knicks, Philly, Boston, and Milwaukee to be good. Yeah. That's what we need in the Eastern Conference Finals. We need Philly, we need the Knicks, we need Milwaukee, and we need Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals. But that's what we need. We need a year where the basketball injury gods say, hold on, not these four teams. Not these four teams. We want these four teams to be healthy and to make it and to play. Because if they're healthy, I think they'll make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's what we need. We need that. So, Spurs probably expect Paul to do what he did for the Thunder, but he's not that caliber player anymore. No, he's not. I think Chris Paul's going to come in and be just a bulldog and bully some of the younger guys like Wemby and get them into shape. We'll see. But some of these guys aren't going to try to hear that from Chris Paul, man. It's one thing when Chris Paul was a top-flight point guard, and you come in and you're telling us this and that, and you're not settling for stuff, and you're that asshole that the team needs. I get it. It's another thing when you come in to try to be that asshole, and you can't play anymore. Hey, man, I'm not trying to hear that from you. You can't do what you're trying to tell us to do. Stop. I'm not sure that's the best teammate. I don't know. But I do know people, they like respect. Respect me. You can't do what you're telling us we need to do. So if you can't do it, what are you talking about? You need to change your approach. And maybe they will. We'll see what happens. I don't like the move, but whatever. I don't have to like the move. I'm not a Spurs fan. I'm not a Spurs fan. Let's move on, people. Let's move on. So the WNBA Rookie of the Year race, I think it's a lot closer than what people are trying to let on. I think it is a lot closer than what people are actually trying to let on. It was a foregone conclusion when the season started that Caitlin Clark was going to win this. Well, she hasn't played bad. She's had some bad games, don't get me wrong. But she hadn't played bad. She's, I know everybody thought that she was going to come in and average 25 points a game and yada, yada, yada. That isn't happening. But she's playing fine. But Angel Reese is playing really well right now, people. Her team's not great, and neither is Indiana. Neither team is great. Indiana is a little better, and it looks like they have the inside track to get the last playoff spot, which if 3 weeks ago you didn't even think that was even remotely possible. But there they are. They're playing a little bit better. But Angel Reese is playing good basketball. She just set the record yesterday for the most consecutive double-doubles in WNBA history. And she's playing good basketball. Now, you don't have to like her, which, again, I don't know why you wouldn't, but okay. If you don't, you don't. It is what it is. But she's playing good basketball. Pulling up and just looking at what she did again. What did she do? Now, they got beat by Minnesota, but Minnesota's one of the best teams in the league. There's no question. Angel Reese, 10 and 10 or 10 and 16. I mean, 16 rebounds is insane. But her problem is, and I think we've kind of covered it, she's got to get better offensively. When this offseason, Angel Reese has to go get in the lab and try to become more athletic, try to get some more explosion, and get a hell of a lot stronger. But she's a rookie, so it happens. But I just like what she's doing. She's competing. She's averaging 13 and 11, so good for her. But I think the race that we keep talking about, this rookie of the year, I think it's gotten a lot closer. A lot closer. And again, I don't think Caitlin Clark's playing bad. I don't think she's playing bad at all. The assist game is insane. She's averaging 16 points, 5 rebounds, and almost 7 assists a game. She almost had a triple-double yesterday in a win over Phoenix. So playing well. I think Caitlin Clark still wins it, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than what we thought. So it's going to be a lot closer than what we thought. Yeah, I just saw that, Pat Cockrell. I got the ticker pulled up right here. Thunder sign Isaiah Hartenstein, I should say. That's going to hurt the Knicks a little bit. I think it is. They need a big man. I thought the Knicks were going to get Andre Drummond, but he went to Philly. So who knows? That'll hurt. But Oklahoma City's trying to do something too. They made a good trade. This is a good offseason pickup. Oklahoma City's trying to do something. I like it. So I like what they're doing. So Ty, I mean, come on, man. Don't say, and like I said, when you make dumb comments, we're going to call you out. Okay? You can't guard any of those women in the WNBA. So don't say stupid stuff, man. Don't say stupid stuff, brother. We love you, but don't say stupid stuff. Don't do that. So, championship run coming from Oklahoma City. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. We'll see. I didn't think Oklahoma City was anywhere close to being championship caliber this year. I know they were the number 1 seed, but I didn't think they were anywhere close to being a championship caliber team, and it proved out to be that case. But another year of seasoning, because we talked about it. There's levels to it. So I think they're on their way. So just got to keep getting better. Get that experience. But WNBA Rookie of the Year, I think, is a lot closer than what people are talking about. I think Angel Reese is starting to close that gap because I think the gap was the size of the Grand Canyon at the start of the season. And now it's not. Now it's more like, it's more like getting over a river. Just taking a bridge over a river. We'll see if that comes down to a creek later on in the season. So, excuse me. Woo, excuse me. Man, that came on out of nowhere. I apologize. But let's move on. So, Chicago Bears. A lot of people have been talking about these Bears, man, and what the Bears bring to the table. And what they're saying is because the Bears, they upgraded, they have better weapons, and their offense is going to be better. Now, whether you think Caleb Williams is a good quarterback or not, that's up for debate. I personally think he's going to be fine. I thought Justin Fields was going to be fine if he had more weapons to work with, but Chicago went another route, And now they're going to be better on offense. I just think so. Now their defense, in lies the problem. Great run defense. Great run defense. But we'll see. They got Sweat as a pass rusher. Can they get more? Can they manufacture more as a pass rush? Because that was their problem last year, is they couldn't generate a pass rush outside of when they traded for Sweat. They had him. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. I personally think the Bears are going to be I think they're going to be on the outside looking in, but they're going to be on the fringe of making a wild card. I do. I think the Bears are going to be on the fringe of that. I just think their offense is going to be so much better. That's going to propel them to win in some games that maybe we don't think they should win. Like they'll beat Detroit one time. They'll beat a Minnesota. So I think that the Bears are going to be better than what people anticipate. They're going to beat a Green Bay one time. We'll see. That's a tough division this year. That's a tough division. Green Bay, Detroit, Chicago, Minnesota. Now, it's not the best division, but I think it's a tough division. The best division, without question, is the AFC North. I think all 4 teams could possibly make the playoffs this year. That's how good I think that division is that all 4 teams could make the playoffs. So, but we'll see. But yeah, I like the Bears, man. What do y'all think about the Bears? What do y'all think about what the Bears are starting to put together? You like the offense. You like the offense that they're putting together. You like the defense. My coaching is still a question mark. I mean, we can't kid ourselves about what we see out of that coach. I have no idea how Eberflus kept his job. General manager didn't hire him. Disappointing season again. How has this guy still got a job? But basically, he must have convinced them and said, look, I'm firing the entire offensive staff. I'm bringing in an entire new offensive staff. Give me another shot. And they're giving him another shot. So, good for him. But we'll see. Do we think the Bears can put something together? Do we think the Bears can compete in that division in the NFC? I kind of think they do. I think they do. Do y'all think, a better question is, do you think Caleb Williams will be the answer in Chicago? Do we think that Caleb would? No, the GM did not pick that head coach. Sorry. The head coach was hired before the general manager. But do we think that Caleb Williams is the quarterback of the future? Do we think that? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think he is. I do. I think he is. I think Caleb Williams is going to be just fine. So I think he's going to be okay. I mean, he's going to hit a rookie. I mean, rookies have their issues, but I think he's going to be fine. Darren Howard doesn't think so. I have a feeling he's going to struggle and be out of the starting role inside of 3 years. Ooh. Woo. I mean, if that happens, everybody's getting fired. We know that. If Caleb Williams is going to struggle and be out of the league or be out of the starting role in 3 years, everybody's getting fired. Everybody, GM, coach, Caleb Williams getting traded. Everybody's out of there. So you better hope that he don't struggle, because they have tied their future to it. They have tied their future to it. So let's see. Fantasy football girl advice. I think our offense will come together, but I do not trust Keenan Allen. Now, I'm assuming you don't trust Keenan Allen because of injury issues. And you can be right, because Keenan Allen is always hurt. He is always hurt. The only good thing that I will say, While Keenan Allen was playing last year, he was insanely good. He was crazy good last year while he was playing. So that much, you know, you can take advantage of. Is Keenan Allen was good last year while he was playing. But that's the whole thing. Is like, ugh. Can you get him 17 games? I think if you can get Keenan Allen for 15 games, you're doing fine. I think if you can get Keenan Allen to play 15 full games for you, I think you are doing fine. That's my personal opinion. So we'll see. His age doesn't bother me. The injuries bother me. So, yeah, you see, that's the thing. I like the Bears. I don't trust the head coach. I don't trust the head coach either, man. I don't trust the head coach either. We'll see. So, my man Braden says he needs consistency. Can't switch up coaches and coordinators every year. I'm sorry, if the Bears are 5-12 this season, the head coach is getting fired, which was going to mean a new offensive coordinator. So I agree with you. You do need that. But there's no chance that if they struggle and they win 5 games this year, the head coach is being fired. Hell, and the owners might say, hey, man, you had your chance to get rid of this head coach. You struggled with it. You're out. So who knows? The only way that I see that not happening is the general manager may have wanted to fire Eberflus and the owner said no. Well, okay. If the owner says no, what are you supposed to do? Then don't blame me if the season falls apart. Don't blame me. I wanted to get a different guy in. So, So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Think they should have started with a new head coach and Caleb start fresh? Yeah. I do. I absolutely do. Absolutely. I think so. But we'll see. We will see. What else do we got? We'll see about the Bears. I don't know, man. We'll see what happens with the Bears. We will see what happens with the Bears. We will see. What else y'all got, man? Let's move. Let's move to Q&A section. What else y'all got here? It's Monday. It's the dead period. Not a ton going on exactly at the time other than NBA free agency. What do we got? So, I'm looking. But one thing is, they had a crazy party in Fort Lauderdale yesterday for Florida Panthers winning the Stanley Cup. Their parade was on the beach. That, to me, that's wild. I love it. A hockey world champion has their parade on the beach. Unbelievable. So, did I catch any of the UFC 303 Saturday? I watched the final match. I mean, that was a domination. That was it. I'm a casual UFC fan. I'll watch it. I don't know a ton, but I'll watch it. But Saturday, I didn't. Saturday, I was too busy. I was in the swimming pool. I was outside. I was trying to get as dark as possible on Saturday. And I tried to do that yesterday too. So, That's what I spent my weekend doing, man. During the dead period, what are we supposed to do? I was trying to do that. So, Big George, hire date. GM was, what does it say? The 25th, and the head coach was the 27th. Gotcha. So it was 2 days. Do you think the GM was really responsible for hiring the head coach 2 days after he got the job? I would be venture to say no. But you're right, and I was wrong. Head coach was hired afterward. But there ain't no way in the world that Poles hired Eberflus. Not 2 days into the job. Unless he went into the job saying, well, this is the guy who we're going to hire. But I'm guessing that's not how those things work. You don't have all these interviews and saying that Poles, I got the job today. We're having a bunch of interviews. See who the next head coach is going to be. I doubt it. But thanks for pointing that out, Big George. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. I know that was important for you to get off the chest. But there ain't no way in the world that Poles hired that guy. Not in my opinion. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I don't know about these Bears, man. I think the NFL is better when the Bears are good. But my question is, when was the last time the Bears were good? Like seriously, like when was the last time the Bears were good? Like, did you say, okay, the Bears got a chance? Like the Bears have a real chance. So, I don't know. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. In all seriousness, is Dallas or Philly going to win the NFC East? I mean, it looks like Philly's trying to win. So it looks like Philly's trying to win. So we'll see what happens. Dallas is kind of, they haven't done anything in the offseason. They had a mediocre draft. I just think Jerry Jones is playing this one close to the vest because he's like, look, we got these 3 guys that I got to pay. And I don't necessarily want to pay Dak all this money. But I might have to if he has a good year and we win in the playoffs. I may have to pay him. But I also got to pay CD and I also got to pay Micah Parsons. And I know people are saying that CD is not going to show up to camp and this and that. And I'm like, well, then don't show up. Don't show up. Or do what is it? You report in. You report, but then you don't practice because you want a new contract. I mean, it's not the last year of his deal. They can pick up his rookie deal, but he wants a new deal. If I'm Dallas, I pay CD, I pay Micah, I make Dak wait. And whatever it happens to be, but I don't know. I'm not paying Dak $60 million. I don't care what the market calls for. If I'm Jerry Jones, I'm like, nope, you can't have that. Sorry. You're not worth it. We're not paying it to you. That's what I would do. But we've seen Jerry Jones do some things that don't make sense to anybody but himself, and we've seen it backfire. But what are you wanting? Are you just wanting a team out there to compete, which I believe Jerry Jones does? He doesn't really care that much about winning. He says he does in the media, but he doesn't really care. As long as people keep going to the games, they keep buying the merchandise, he doesn't really care. Just have a competitive team out there. If they win the Super Bowl, great. But that's not what my issue is. The bottom line. That's all I care about. And everybody's going to keep continuing to go to the games as long as we put out a pretty good team. Doesn't have to be the best, because if he was interested in that, he'd trade Dak for somebody else and get somebody else in there, because we've seen what Dak can do in the playoffs. He can't win. So if you've got a guy that can't win in the playoffs when you need him to win, tell me why you're going to pay that guy $60 million? Whatever. So, 8 teams, Ty, make the WNBA playoffs. 8 teams. Indiana has the 8 seed by 2 games right now over Chicago. Yeah, they're 2 games ahead of them. So they still got a lot of basketball to be played. A lot. This is a bad season for the WNBA, man. I'll be honest with you. This is a bad season because here in a couple weeks, they're going to take a break to go to the Olympics. And the Olympics last a month. It starts the 26th of July. It lasts a month. That means it's getting over August 26th. You know what starts a week later? Football. College football. The WNBA and their season will still be going on, still be trying to get a champion. It will become one of the most irrelevant things known to man. So nobody's going to watch. Nobody's going to pay attention. They might still get people going to the games, depending on when they are. But like these Saturday games, yeah. What do you think people are going to go do? But I could be wrong. Maybe people are going to say, you know what? We're going to see Caitlin Clark. We're going to see WNBA no matter what. So let's see what happens when it directly goes against college football and NFL football. Let's see where the crowds go. Is it going to take a bite into it? I don't think it will, but maybe it does. I'm not sure. What are your thoughts on the Sunday ticket and the NFL mess that is going on? Man, I mean, I guess there were some rules that got broken or whatever rules. I think it's going to get overturned on appeal because for me as a fan, I don't mind paying for the NFL Sunday ticket because, number one, I want to see every single game. So I want to do that. But number two, I'm a Steelers fan. I live in the DFW area. How am I supposed to watch the Steelers? I can't unless I have it. So I buy it. And I have no problems because, again, I want to watch every game. Clearly, I'm not watching every game in full, but I watch every Steeler game in full. So what's the problem? Like, I don't understand what the issue is. But whatever. Some lawyers came up with stuff. They ended up winning the case. And it was what, $4 billion that the NFL owes. So, sheesh. But it'll be years before this gets figured out. So it's not anything that's coming around right now. But I guess antitrust laws were broken and you can't sell to particular markets. You know, I don't know. I think it's a whole bunch of nothing. I'm like, so you're telling me the NFL can't sell its games to people? Tell me why. Explain to me why it's against the law for the NFL to sell their games to a network, to a platform for people to buy for their consumption. If people had a problem, they don't have to buy it. Like, I don't have to buy Sunday Ticket. You don't have to buy it. Like, if it's not in your wheelhouse, like if the budget doesn't work for you or whatever, you don't have to spend the money on it. But telling the NFL they got to have every game on TV, just a normal platform, that's insane. They can't sell it? Why the hell not? I think it's going to get overturned. I think it's going to go all the way up to the Supreme Court. I 100% believe that this case will end up in the Supreme Court. Now, you know how long stuff like that takes. So this isn't going away anytime soon. So I wouldn't freak out if I was anybody. But yeah, I think it's going to end up in the Supreme Court because the NFL is not going to back down. First of all, they're not going to want to walk away from that kind of money. But I think it's going to end up getting overturned, and it's going to end up in the Supreme Court. Okay. So, Big B, I just want to shout out one of the brightest young stars in baseball, Gunnar Henderson from my O's, is having an MVP caliber season. The future is bright. If the O's are one of the few teams in the league where their scoring has actually gone up from last year to this year. The O's got a shot. They got a shot. We talked about this the other day. They got a shot. They've basically tied the Yankees. They've caught the Yankees. You know how the Yankees got off to that hot start? Well, the Orioles tied. They're tied. And I think they're going to end up winning the division again. The Orioles are playing good baseball. They lost yesterday. You can't win every game. I mean, they beat the shit out of the Texas Rangers all weekend except for yesterday. So I like what they got going on. I do. I like what the Orioles have going on. They're going to mess around and have the best record in the American League. They are. So good for them. You all see my Mets, though. Just like I told you guys, you see my Mets. As soon as I give them a little praise, what do? We drop back into mediocrity. I just can't, people. I can't. I just can't. Oh. As crazy as it sounds and is, the NFL is considered a not-for-profit organization. They have different responsibilities to the public. I mean, technically, I just think the whole thing is going to get overturned. I mean, they're considered that, and I understand all that. It's going to get overturned. There's no way. I say no way. There's a way. But this thing is going to end up in politicians' hands. And when I say politicians, I mean the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court is going to allow the NFL to continue to do what they're doing. Again, I still don't see anything wrong with it. I don't. The one thing I do know, I'm going to be extremely furious if it ends up that they can't have Sunday ticket anymore, and then I can't watch the Steelers play football on Sunday. I will be furious if it goes back to the old days where they have 3 games on, and that's all we get. We get an early game, we get a late game, and we get an early game on another network. I will be furious. And you know who else is going to be furious? The people that consume the National Football League. Fans are going to be furious. And the NFL is going to take a huge hit. You think that the old, the settlement is going to be a lot. The popularity of the NFL will go down because you won't be able to see it anymore. The consumption won't be there. So we'll see. So, no, my Mets, Pat, we did not enjoy the weekend. Got smacked around by the Astros. That was ugly. But today's a new day. So, I appreciate everybody being in here, man. We're going to shut this one down for today. Thanks, everybody, for showing up and showing out like you guys always do. Love you guys. Make sure, whether you like the Steelers or not, make sure you go and check out Steelers Almighty on YouTube, man. And anywhere that you get, or if you're on social media, any social media platform, it's there. If you get a podcast, anywhere you get a podcast, if you like listening to those, make sure you do go and check out and listen to Steelers Almighty. Obviously, it's here on YouTube. Go check us out. Go subscribe, follow, listen, comment, all that good stuff. We appreciate you guys. Love you. See you tomorrow. Aloha.